Hey everybody, this is Jim Grisanzio from the Oracle Groundbreakers team, and we're continuing our series of interviews for the next couple of weeks on speakers from the Oracle Groundbreakers Yatra, which is a massive tour in India. But actually this year everything's online, obviously, and tonight I'm here with Karen Cannell in Massachusetts. Karen, welcome. Welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be here, Jim.
Good. Nice to meet you. We're meeting here for the first time. I'm specifically reaching out to speakers that I've never met before. I just had this desire to meet this desire to meet new friends. So you were on the list, and I'm very happy that you responded. And Karen, you're an ACE director. And
Yes.
so I wanted to talk a little bit about the ACES program, and we'll get into what you're going to be talking about it as well. So let's just start off with the ACE program. How long have you been an ACE director?
I've been an ACE director almost exactly a year, actually exactly
Okay.
a year, because I got, they surprised me last year at K-Scope, which would have been now in Boston. So I have all these little lobsters and no one to give them to. Come on, seriously, people, come on over for lobster dinner, chowder, whatever you want. There's plenty here. Um, but I was, um, I feel like I was an Oracle ace forever and couldn't break that, you know, level into ace director. And what I started doing was um, more conferences, more interactions with the people that I love talking to. People probably don't realize that the ACE program is not just a brownie point system. It's a community. And when we go to these conferences, we see each other and we learn from each other. Now, I started out in Oracle technology. I was very fortunate to have a boss who let me go to conferences, and I preferred that over formal, week-long training. Not only did I learn more, I, for whatever silly reason, I volunteered because they said, "Hey, we need people to review papers," or "Hey, we need people to help on our technical journal," or "We need people to." Um, help out as a room monitor, simple things.
Right.
And doing that, I met people in this community, and some were aces, and I learned, that's an Oracle recognition, that Oracle recognizes you as an expert in your field. And with that comes a responsibility to pass it on to other people. That's what our user groups are for. It's one thing for people to get the message from Oracle. It's quite another to get it from people that are non-Oracle employees that are using the tools, that are vetted experts using the tools. And I find by volunteering at the conferences, I'm hanging out with the experts, so I learn more that way. For me, giving back to the user group, I'm giving back the way I learned. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that you felt like you were an ace, for a long
Yeah.
time, and you need to come up to the level of an ace director. You mentioned how to do more content and stuff. How many conferences would you attend, per year? Like last year, if this was your first year as an Oracle ace director, how many events would you actually go to?
Gosh, last year, and I had started doing this year before. Nothing in January, Armagh, Utah in March, Cleveland, Collaborate in April. So it's got to be 10,
10, yeah.
10 to 11.
So something every single month then.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
pretty much one a month. And I'm at a point in my career, I'm self-employed, and I have very wonderful clients that are very flexible. As long as I get things done, they're happy to, they don't care where I work from
Right. That's a
or what I do. So I'm
fantastic position to
able,
be in.
and I'm loving it. So I'm able. And one of the fun things I did was look at the Australia, the APAC tour. I'm
Right.
like, why not? And I loved it. And again, it expands my community of Oracle Aces that I might only see at Open World or I might only see online. And yeah, we do all our studying and we all cram before our presentations because we're all technical people and that's what we do. Um, but I met yet more people in this community, and again, people all over, and it's we're all doing the same thing. When a new release comes out, we're like, I just got an email right before this, and it's kind of still in my brain. Interactive grid bug. Have you seen this one? I need to consistently reproduce it so that we can get it to Oracle so that they can fix it. And I have some ideas on because I've run into that same bug, and I think it has to do with X, Y, and Z, and so I get that information before the rest of the world, and that we get these bugs to Oracle so that they can fix them.
Right, right. Well, that's really the benefit of the community. You can contribute to the community and just make the product obviously better, right? So
Yeah. The other thing I like there is when something goes wrong, and I've had this happen, and my client needs this or I need it for a presentation. I can open the bug with Oracle, but I know who to email to.
right.
And I get a response back from the product team, and I'm like, yes, Karsten's on it, or, Shakib is on it. That's how things get fixed quicker.
Right. Okay, so if I'm a young developer or a young DBA, or, I see you at a conference, and I, I'm just maybe out of school or something, and I really like what you do. And I hear a lot about these ACEs and these ACE directors and stuff, and they seem to have this community. What do I do? I mean, how do I, what would the conversation be like if, you step off of the stage and I grab you and we go into, the hallway and we say, how do I do this? What do I have to do to be like you, basically?
Oh, it's real easy. The first step is talk to one of us. We're all approachable. This is what we do. This is how we got there. This is why we go to conferences and why we like in-person conferences. So you get that one-on-one, that networking, or 5-on-1 even.
Right.
So we learn directly. So step one is just contact one of us. Online, there's a whole list of this is what you need to do to become an ACE or an ACE associate first. All of that involves getting involved, volunteering to help out with the user group, to submit a presentation. I maintain, and I say this in most every presentation I do, that every one of us out there working in Oracle technology knows something. If you have a job and you're doing something, then you know that thing you've done better than anyone else in the world.
Right.
And if you had to think and figure it out, and just that learning path even is a presentation that someone else can learn from. So get involved, and if you need help submitting a presentation, writing a paper, writing blog posts, talk to one of us, because we've all done them and we've been there. And I remember being totally petrified to submit a presentation. Oh my gosh. And I think I'd been volunteering for IOUG for a year or two, and these two women looked at me and they said, "Where's your presentation?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't present." They're like, "Why not?" And I'm like, "Well, no, you guys present. I'm just reviewing papers. I'm helping
Right.
behind the scenes." And they said, no, you need to submit. So then the next year, there I was presenting on Oracle Forms, and I forget what it was about with Oracle Forms, but that was my first presentation.
There's a lot of people in that position. A
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people. Yeah, it's just that.
But there's a lot of we help you through it.
Yeah.
It's the community. We want to bring new people along.
Cool. All right, great advice. Okay, so you're presenting at OGYatra about low code, Apex versus UBCS.
Oracle low code tools, Apex
Okay.
versus Visual Builder. I think when I
Oh,
first submitted,
VBCS. Okay.
yeah, when I first submitted the presentation, we were saying VBCS. Since then, we more regularly say Visual Builder.
Okay.
But as an Apex developer, and now remember, a lot of my community are Apex developers, and it's a very competitive community when it comes to presentations. There's so much talent and all over the world. So, I'm like, I don't know. I was just curious what this other low-code tool was, JavaScript-based, Oracle Jet-based, and I started asking questions. And the same questions I had: what is Visual Builder? Why would I use Apex? Why would I use Visual Builder? What are the differences between the two? How has Oracle positioned them? How does a beginner developer see them? How does a more advanced developer see them? So all those questions get answered in this presentation.
So I was just looking. So you call it a lowdown, and you have a versus, right? And you mentioned a
Yeah,
little bit earlier. So it seems to be a little bit of a, I don't know. You called it fun earlier. So
it
what's
is
the
fun.
fun? So what's the fun bit here?
Oh, for me, I'm learning. I'm learning Visual Builder, and the other, it is kind of a us versus them thing. The Apex community is very tight, and now there's this new guy on the block, and so why is Oracle building a new low-code platform? Well, because there's a need for it. In particular, the Visual Builder fills the need to easily extend Oracle Fusion applications, SaaS applications. Visual Builder is geared, drag and drop, do simple extensions. Your security is tied in. Your full lifecycle tracking is tied in if you use Visual Builder Studio as well. You cannot do that as easy in Application Express. So there's that, and then there's Apex is PL SQL based, and Visual Builder is JavaScript based. Now you've got your two developer communities because Apex SQL, PL SQL, all that warm, fuzzy, thick database stuff that those of us that came up through the years with Oracle Designer and Oracle Forms and database design and data modeler, and now we have Visual Builder, and it's like we're going to get rid of all that. Everything is REST enabled, and all your code is JavaScript. As a matter of fact, in Visual Builder, you will never ever write a SQL query, which kind of throws people off. Wait a minute, it's an Oracle thing. Nope, it's data from anywhere. Any REST-enabled data can be consumed in Visual Builder, used in Visual Builder, I should say.
So different tools for different needs.
That's exactly it.
Right.
And there are some simple comparisons in that Apex has a lot of wizards and generations. So you can drag a spreadsheet and in a few clicks create an application that has full features, perhaps a faceted search, an interactive report, edit forms, and a suite of administration tools. We don't have that in Visual Builder yet. They may go there, they may not. We don't have an interactive report. We don't have a faceted search. But what we do have is drag and drop into the code, full flexibility with layouts. And this is a biggie, true native mobile development. So I can drag and drop and then tweak code as I need to build a native mobile application, so suitable for an Android phone or an iPhone, using the features of that phone, where in Apex I can't do that. I can build a responsive application. If I do a bit of extra work and include the right libraries and plan things appropriately, I can build a progressive web app. But in Visual Builder, it's just a matter of how I deploy the app. in one click, I can turn it into a progressive web app. And that's really, really cool.
It it sounds simple. I mean, I've played around with some of these low code things. I mean, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Deceptively simple, and so in the sense of so I just wonder how much of the code you can see if you need to see it in
Very
some of these
interesting
tools.
question.
You know,
In
because
Visual
and
Builder?
or do you need to? I mean, have the tools abstracted that complexity out enough to where you really don't need to see, you know, the code behind it to make your tweaks or whatever.
Where to start? In Apex?
Either.
And I love how you framed the question. In Apex, because Apex is built using Apex. So they've abstracted enough that through the page builder, I can add PL/SQL, tweak PL/SQL, add CSS, or maybe I need to tweak the template with some HTML or CSS, add classes. Most of the time I don't have to. Most of the time my customizations in Apex are done by building dynamic actions, which is nothing more than declarative ways to add JavaScript to your application. It's really, they've really made it simple so that I can do some really cool things in Apex without being a JavaScript wizard. So I don't see the full set of code in Apex.
Do you?
If I need to, I can really dig,
Okay.
but I get just enough to make it easy for me.
Do you feel a
Visual
desire
Studio.
to see it? I mean, do you as a developer say, no? Okay.
No, I can stuff things if I need to. Apex has a static region. I can stuff whatever HTML I want in that region, and because all it is really PL/SQL and JavaScript widgets generating web pages.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to, I can stuff whatever code I want in there. I'm a lot more. I was going to say I'm a lot more principled. I'm of the school that stay in the sandbox as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when you upgrade, you're not going to have grief. So while you can do these things, especially when I write code for my clients, I don't want to leave them with grief. I like working for my clients. In Visual Builder, I get to see the code.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's not low level line by line, it's Oracle Jet JavaScript. So if you're a JavaScript person and you're like, yes, and you're an Angular wizard, and I'm going to go in and write everything from scratch and using Angular, and that's not what this is. This is Oracle Jet JavaScript. So while the code is exposed, what's exposed are calls to Oracle Jet components. And it's very modular, and I love the feature where I can drag into the code. So if I'm, you know how drag and drop things work, and it's hard to get it to go exactly where I want, I can look at the code, and I know I want to go between this div and that div, and I can just drag it right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Is the desire? How much is the UI basically sort of shielding you from the code, which is a good thing in many instances, but are you itching to really see what's back there so you can make the little tweaks? I just find it interesting because these tools are so powerful nowadays, and they're so intuitive, and they're on the surface easy looking. I mean, I can do some of this stuff, right? So
yeah, I'm building JavaScript apps with Visual Builder, and I don't consider myself a JavaScript expert. It's also helping me improve my JavaScript, my Oracle Jet JavaScript.
Interesting.
Doing both of these and doing the comparison is helping me really think about how do we build an application, which is something everyone should do. What's the layout? What's the flow? Does it need to be desktop? Does it need to be desktop and mobile enabled? Because that's going to change your strategy and how I build and how you build.
Right. Interesting. Okay, so final question: how are you getting on these days with, you're presenting at this online conference. a lot of people, a lot of developers now presenting online, obviously, almost every week now, right? So you're not traveling, you're not meeting people. I find the experience lacking, obviously, because I prefer to be in the space, in the actual physical space. How are you handling it?
Oh gosh, I'm doing better now than at the beginning. I was not handling it well at the beginning. We did get Rocky Mountain Oracle User Group. We got that conference in, and what we do, and again, these are ACEs. These are ACE alumni. These are friends that I have because I see at these conferences. We ski after RMUG. Then we go to Utah and we ski. We get a ski day. That's our speaker thank you gift. So all of a sudden, this one got canceled and that one got canceled, and I was getting real claustrophobic. There's an energy that goes with, okay, get all my work done for my clients so I can go here and present and play. There's an energy with doing a presentation, learning the next new thing and sharing that with someone else. And I get really jazzed, especially some of my interactive grid presentations, because people go, I'm not going there. They're asking me to write JavaScript now instead of clicking buttons. And I'm like, look, it's not that hard. So, to present that online and have no feedback is different. But what I had to do to adapt is I literally had to leave the house at the time when they were saying, masks on for everybody, and oh my God, don't go outside. Well, I live north of Boston in a very rural area near the beach, and I need to go outside. I need to do my run. I need to swim. If they told me I had to wear a mask while I swam, I'd be arrested. But there was one day in particular, and then of course all our social meetings went online to Zoom.
Right.
And I think I did 2 days of, okay, I've been on the computer working or on a Zoom meeting, or 5, from 8 in the morning, now it's 10 o'clock at night, and I haven't left the building yet.
Right.
And then my town came back with the order, thou shalt have a mask on when you leave the house. And I lost it. And I left the house, and it took about, I went for my run with my mask on, and it took about 2 days. I said, I'm not going to let fear kill me.
Right.
I'm going to do what I need to do to stay safe, and I'm going to do my run and my swim, because those are things I need to do inside to stay safe and stay sane.
Right.
So now when I do Zoom meetings, if I don't have to be on my computer, I do them on my phone. I'll go outside and I'll walk around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed to do those breaks I can't do 24/7 in front of a computer. Yeah. So I had to get back to the things that keep me whole.
I should try some interviews walking around. I live right next to the forest here. But actually, there's mountains right next to us. I should try walking around with the interviews here. So it's like I have like 30 scheduled. So over the next 3 weeks. Yeah. All right, Karen, thank you very much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. I learned a lot. Really great that you're speaking at this conference. I think the developers are going to learn a lot too. And hopefully next year, I'll meet you in India for the tour, for the Yatra tour, for the real physical tour, right?
Thank you very much, 20
cities. Cool. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.